from Kowalah. For those of you that have joined before, every Wednesday we get together for an hour and we talk about one main topic for about 20 or 30 minutes. Then we'll spend about 15 minutes talking about AI in the news. So anything that has happened in the last 7 days, and there's plenty of new releases that we've got to get our teeth into today. And then there is an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have. Now, that can be about any of the topics that we talk about in the first half of the webinar, but it could be anything. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to build your first Gemini gem or your first custom GPT. So ask your questions and I'll do my best to answer them while we're on the call together. If this is your first time in a Zoom, you will see that you've got a chat capability, so you can ask a question there and I'll be able to see that. And then you've also got a Q&A button as well, so you can log your questions there and I'll endeavour to keep an eye on both of those panels as we go through. And so today, what have we got on there? Let me go here to present and move through. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about a new feature, new functionality in Kowalah called Projects, and also touching on initiatives. So I'll dive into that in a minute. Then we've got our AI in the news, and then we've got our live Q&A. So Kowalah Projects, the Kowalah platform. What is it that we're doing and why? When we first built the Kowalah platform, it was to help our clients to drive AI adoption across their organization. The Kowalah platform has been how our clients interact with our team to manage the work that we are doing on behalf of them. But increasingly, as we've been chatting to our clients, they've been asking to do various things either outside of the platform, so they're building them on their intranet or building them in other tools, or they are asking us how we can support them with that. So when I think about this, as with any kind of product development, I'm thinking about who has got the problem. Now, in the Kowalah context, most of the relationships that we have in our clients are kind of top down. So we're starting work often with either a CEO, maybe a chief operating officer, COO, or a CIO or CTO who's handling the technical side of things. And it is these senior individuals that are driving the AI programs in their organizations. As we start working with them, then we often get involved with the AI Center of Excellence. So this is often a core team of 5 or 10 people that is driving that AI program across the organization. So these are the people dealing with vendors, working on the different models that they might be rolling out, running training, building their AI champions program. And up until now, most of the usage of the Kowalah platform has been restricted to those individuals. So the senior executive or the core team that are around them that are driving the AI adoption. But more and more, some of the questions that we're getting through are, okay, what about the team that are one level below that? And so here we're thinking about AI champions, you might call them, or AI ambassadors. These are the super users that often make up 5 to 10% of your company. And these are the people that have put their hands up and they are getting some additional training, but they're also supporting the teams and the colleagues that are around them. In addition to that, you've got what I've termed here as leaders, but these could be managers, other executives. These are the people that are sponsoring AI into their own teams and divisions, and they're probably sort of pro users. They might be using it for their own sort of advanced use cases. And then you go down one level further on to the entire employee base, the 1,000, the 10,000, all of the employees, and how can we help them with their own AI adoption. So let's look at those in sort of individual categories. So for the CIO and the AI Center of Excellence, the types of questions that we keep hearing are, this is not questions aimed at us, but more the CIO asking themselves, what is happening across our organization? We've got 1,000 people. We've got a lot of different AI initiatives and vendors and projects that are running. Like, what is happening in this AI deployment program? How do I keep on top of these things? What is it that we're deploying? We've got a bit of ChatGPT there. We've got someone working on the Gemini API over here. We've got someone using Claude Code. What is it that is being deployed? What have we built that we can replicate? And this we see quite a lot. I've got a team over there building a GPT for finance reconciliation, but we've already built something very similar over here. People just didn't know about it. So what can we replicate? What are others doing outside of our organization? So other companies, other CIOs, other COOs, what are they doing that I can learn from? And then this very important question that comes up a lot is, how can I evidence the success of what we're doing? We've invested a lot in AI, our AI program. How do I go back to the board and say we've spent X and we've got Y back? What is Y and how do we evidence that? So these are some of the problems that are coming to us from the senior leadership. Then you go down a level to these AI champions and leaders. Now, I don't know if you've run a champions program before. It's a very sort of well recognized way of driving change across an organization. But there's also plenty of examples of champions programs that just failed to deliver on the expectation. And often this is because champions have got these questions. What is it that I need to do? You've brought me into some extra training. You've given me some early adoption access to the license. But what is it that I actually need to do next week and when I go back to my desk? Who is it that I'm helping? I know I'm a champion, but am I waiting for people to come and speak to me? Or do I have a dedicated set of delegates that I'm supposed to go and work? Just like the CIO, what is working in the organization? What tips can I pick up? What prompts, what GPTs, what skills are working that I can replicate? How do I get help as an individual and how do I further my own learning? So important challenges that they're facing. And then finally, we go down to everyone else. And here, one of the biggest things that we see is people that have got an idea. So I went on the training. I learned about ChatGPT. I learned about Gemini or Claude. I've got an inkling of an idea about my role as an HR administrator, as a financial analyst, but I don't quite know what to do with that. Is it a project? Is it a prompt? Is it a gem? How do I build that? How do I make it work? So how do I log that kind of idea and then track it forwards? And so on, finding out who my champion is. So these are the sort of discrete areas of challenges that we see from our clients that are driving these kind of programs. And this is where I'm going to swap into my actual Kowalah platform now. This is where we are adding in these kind of functions and features into the Kowalah platform. So this is Kowalah. If you've not logged into it, you can sign up at kowalah.com for a free account and you'll get your access. What we've put into the platform now is the concept of a project. So here is a project, a kind of high level wrapper around a specific program that you might be launching in your organization. As an example here, we're rolling out Claude Team to the company, and we want to manage that as a project. If you've used any kind of project management, you won't have any great surprises around here. We've got a description of what it is that we want to do. We're able to have some comments and discussion threads around that specific project. We're able to add in some milestones to that project, the steps that we need to go through. We are able to add some initiatives, and I'll come to that in a moment. And then we can have some status updates. So what we've done is have quite a lightweight project management capability here that we can say that we've got a project that's at risk, it's low priority, high priority, and that whether we're the CIO, whether we are the AI Center of Excellence, or even if we want to give visibility to the broader company, people can see what is working and where things are in their status. So I mentioned there about initiatives. So if a project is an overall wrapper, then an initiative is one discrete bit of functionality or a task within that. And so if I go to one of these initiatives, which might be us rolling out a skill for our finance team, an initiative looks fairly similar. We've got a description about that initiative. We can have a discussion about it. We can tie it to a specific project or a milestone, and we can track it through its various stages from being just an initial idea to being deployed, and people can replicate and duplicate that for other purposes. So these two kind of contexts of a project and an initiative, and as a company, you can track your initiatives across that life cycle on this Kanban board. So what we want to encourage is that whether you're an AI champion, whether you are just a member of the employee base, you've got this ability to log ideas and to watch them as they get tracked through from an initial idea to being validated, to being built, and then to being deployed into your organization so that people can replicate or reuse that. So early stages for this, we're really looking for feedback from our clients in terms of how this helps you to drive projects in your organization. So your question might be, hey, Charlie, we've got plenty of project management tools in our organization. We've got Monday, we've got Asana, we've got projects built into Microsoft. Why do we need another tool? And this is really where we are doubling down, is what does it mean to build an AI native and AI program specific project management or program management tool? Well, a couple of things. One, beyond just having projects and initiatives, it is through this platform that you are able to log expert requests. This is where you log a request for someone in the Kowalah team to be able to support your employee, your AI champion, or your AI Center of Excellence team with doing something. That could be help us to write a prompt. It could be help us to build a GPT. It could be come and attend our sales team meeting kickoff and teach people about ChatGPT, custom GPTs. Whatever that might be, it is through this project interface that you can request that human support so that you've got this always on capacity of AI experts. In addition to that, you can attach accelerators to your projects. So here we have an ever-growing list of pre-built accelerators, which we have used, deployed in other clients. So you may, for example, be at the start of the year and you may be deploying OKRs out to all of your employees. And you might be thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could give everyone a really nice, easy GPT that helps them to write consistent and accurate OKRs? Well, we have an accelerator for that, and it's easy for you to then just deploy that into your workspace. And so where our vision is here is that as a company, you're creating your projects. As a company, your teams are logging initiatives. And then within these initiatives, it is very simple for you to attach different expert requests. I want to launch an expert request for this, or to attach accelerators. I want to attach a pre-built accelerator for this. We're helping you to deliver on all these initiatives without you having to assign too much of your people's time to that. And so with that, just to wrap up this, I want to draw your attention to this new sidebar here, which is the Kowalah Assistant, the AI capability of the platform. And so here I could just say, hey, Kowalah, can you just tell me a little bit about this initiative and the project that it's assigned to? This is running on the Claude API, and it's built on the Claude Agent SDK, which means it's got all of the capabilities of Claude Code, but built into the Koala platform. So what you're seeing here is that I've asked a simple question. It's going off to check all of the memory that it's got about me and my account here. It's then using a skill that we have given it, which is about managing the Koala interface. And that allows Kowalah, the agent on the right here, to do everything that you can do or that I can do in the UI. It is able to read, to write, to update, to delete. And this is really the vision of where we're headed at with the Kowalah platform, is that the agent on the right is going to become a key member of your team and is able to support you in doing everything that you're doing in this project management tool. So with that, let me come back over to my deck here. And I can see a question here, so I will just come to that while I'm bringing up my slides here. I'd love to know what AI tools you're seeing the most popular and the use cases, in particular free ones that people are using, such as ChatGPT, Granola, etc. Really good question. Do you know, it is moving so fast at the moment with so many different tools that are coming out. I'm seeing a lot of, you mentioned Granola there. We use Granola here. Absolutely fantastic. And you can start for free on that for meeting notes. I'm seeing less usage of things like Grok, less things like Perplexity. I'm just tending to see, like coming through the new year, that people are doubling down on the three main enterprise platforms. So Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude are the ones that I'm seeing a lot of. I don't know if that quite answered your question, if there were specific other ones that you're thinking of, but please do, yeah, ask again if I haven't quite hit the nail there. So when we're thinking about the platform and what you can expect to see in the platform as we continue to build this out is we want the tool to be able to do absolutely everything that a human can do. We do not want to just build you another project management tool because you've probably got 10 of them already in the organization. So what we're really thinking about is imagine that Kowalah as a platform was a person. Imagine that that was a person that was in your AI center of excellence. What is it that you'd want that person to be able to do? You'd want them to be able to manage all of your projects and initiatives. You'd want them to be able to log and manage expert requests. You would want them to be able to join meetings, to send updates, to provide status updates, to speak to your vendors. You would want them to be able to be contactable in the tools that you're already using, like Slack or Teams or email. And this is really where we're headed at with the agentic side on the right-hand side of the screen in the Kowalah platform, is to build a tool that acts as if it's a human member of your team. So now I want to flip over to AI in the news. And whilst we had a quieter week when we were on this session a week ago, things are definitely ramping up fast now with all of the vendors coming back from their holidays. So the first thing I want to touch on is a release that came out 2 days ago, and it's called Cowork. And it is a new feature from Claude. Now, if you're a developer, you may have been using or be aware of Claude Code. It's what's called an agentic harness. It is a framework that allows developers to program, to write code, to run their testing, and it is really finely tuned to the Claude models, Opus and Sonnet, and so on. The two work in tandem to be really, really good at writing code. And what a lot of people realized was that Claude Code is not just good at writing code, it's good at writing anything and reading anything, whether that is text or anything else. And so what Cowork is the first attempt at Anthropic of bringing Claude Code to non-developers. So what does that mean? Well, it means that in the Claude desktop app, you can now start to assign long-running tasks to Claude that are not related to code. So it could be, prepare us for the board meeting, prepare for hiring this person, organize our all hands meeting, go and build our forecast for the next few months. And what Cowork is able to do is not just come back to you immediately after each chat, but actually go away for 20 minutes, accessing multiple different systems and do the work that you have determined for it. Now, it is only in a research preview and it is only available on a certain type of account, which is their max plan, which is an individual plan. Now, because here at Kowalah, we're on a business team plan, it means we don't have access for it yet. But I would expect to see this get iterated on a little bit over the next few weeks and for you to take a look at that in your own Claude accounts. If you do have a Claude Max account, then look for Cowork and you can start to test it out. Now, what's interesting about Cowork, a couple of things, this sort of feeds into a bit more of what we're going to talk about, is the pace at which companies are developing if they are an AI-enabled organization. This was a tweet that came out from the lead product manager on Cowork, a guy called Felix. So just read the top of this. Claude wrote Cowork. They use Claude and Claude Code to write their new platforms. They're able to go so fast. In another tweet, he was asked, like, how long have you been working on this? They spent, drum roll, 1.5 weeks on getting the first version of Cowork out. So this was just in the run up to Christmas. Boris, who is the lead owner of Claude Code, said, look, why don't we make this a little bit more accessible for non-developers? Felix, why don't you take the lead and work on getting a first version out? So 1.5 weeks, Felix was able to work with, I'm sure, a few other developers, as he says here, managing 3 to 8 Claude instances at once, implementing the features, fixing bugs. There is no long sort of 6-month roadmap and big sort of pipeline of activity. Later on here, it says, when someone reports a bug in Slack, we often just mention Claude and tell it to fix it. This is the new way of working. And what we're seeing is that the companies that are working in this way are just accelerating and getting faster and faster and further ahead of traditional software development lifecycle companies that are busy building their requirements, busy doing their daily stand-ups and their sprint reviews. They're just falling behind and behind and behind. Next couple of releases are kind of linked. So last week, you may have seen that OpenAI announced the launch of ChatGPT Health. So what is ChatGPT Health? Well, it is a designated area in your personal ChatGPT account that allows you to have conversations about your own personal health. It allows you to connect up to health trackers such as Apple Watch so that all your data from that is funneled into ChatGPT. If you're in the US, it allows you to plug in to your medical records that are held online. And it means that you can start to have very private, very secure conversations about your own medical situation. Now, this is a huge leap forward because, well, I was going to say only until recently, but still today, people are saying, well, I'd never talk about, my client data in ChatGPT. Oh, I'd never share any of my financial data in ChatGPT. Well, here in a HIPAA regulated product, people are now funneling in their most secure medical information into these platforms. It really is a leap forward in terms of the trust that people are putting into these tools. Now, maybe coincidentally, also last week, let me see what the dates here. So the 7th of January was ChatGPT Health is launched. The 11th of January, Anthropic launched a new version of Claude for healthcare. Now, Claude for healthcare does have some of the similar types of functionalities for a consumer, being able to track your Apple Watch stats and so on. But in the blog post, more of what they're talking about are other aspects of the medical ecosystem. So in the US, you may be familiar, they talk about having a provider, a payer, and a patient. So the provider is the hospital or the medical practitioner. The payer is the insurance company. If you're in the UK, the payer is the NHS in the main. And then you've got the patients. So ChatGPT Health is mainly about the patients. Claude for healthcare is more about the provider and the payer. So focusing on clinical trials, focusing on pre-diagnosis, and is this patient going to be eligible for insurance? These kinds of things. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit more, but so I wanted to make the point about ChatGPT Health and Claude Healthcare both coming out at the same time. Two other releases last week I'm going to touch on. If you're in the Google Workspace ecosystem, then you'll be using Gmail, and you may be seeing these start arriving in your Gmail interface shortly. So the first is AI overviews. So take a look at the screen here. In the search bar, we've got a kind of a Gemini style question. Who was the plumber that gave me a quote for the bathroom renovation last year? And then at the top of the inbox here, you can see this AI overview. Gemini is using your inbox as the source of all of its data. And then it's able to provide you this sort of AI overview summary, similar to what you may have seen in your Google searches. So this is a fantastic advancement. When Gmail first came out, it was amazing because the search was so much better than in Outlook, that you were able to find things so much easier. But you still had to be saying, right, I'm looking for this email, maybe from this person, maybe it's got an attachment in it. But here we've got really free-flowing search request. But then we've also got this free-flowing response. We're not just getting a list of 5 emails for us to figure out. We're actually getting the diagnosis of which emails we've got and why we might want to look at them. So that's AI overviews. The next is if you see at the top of the menu on the left, you've got AI inbox. What is AI inbox, Charlie? Well, AI inbox is a summary of everything in your inbox. What do you need to work on? So instead of going to inbox and seeing your emails in chronological order, we go to AI inbox, and Gemini is going to tell us what we need to be working on. So this is going to be looking at whether something is in our priority inbox, whether there are requests, whether we had committed to go back to them, or whether Gemini thinks it's important. So this is coming out in a beta version, and I can imagine for anyone that has a constantly bombarded inbox, this is going to be a super useful feature. I also think about it from the perspective of anyone that's in go-to-market and thinking about cold outbound emails. This is going to be just the death of those kind of emails, because Gemini is going to make the assessment on your behalf that this is not important for you. And I think this is going to be a real challenge for anyone that's in a pipeline generation role. So when do you get hold of those? Well, I don't know if I put it onto the next slide here. No, these things are being rolled out at the moment. They are primarily available to US customers on, I believe, on the Ultra plan, and they may be going out to business and enterprise shortly. So if you don't see it, don't worry, it's coming. Literally was just launched this week, and then you can start looking for AI overviews and AI inbox from Gemini. So what am I thinking about here when I look at some of these releases? There is a really interesting uh, play that is going on at the moment. Google comes from a world where they make the bulk of their money from advertising dollars in search. They are a consumer company, B2C, getting people to go to Google search, clicking on a paid ad, and that's how they made the bulk of their money. So as they go through this transition to an AI world, a lot of it is about thinking, how do we convert those ad dollars from search into AI ad dollars in some form? And so they're looking at these AI overviews and search and how do they monetize that? A lot of the investment that they are doing around AI is therefore on a consumer focus. So you may have come across Nano Banana, their amazing image generator. You may have come across VO3, which is their great video model. And of course, you're seeing AI overviews and AI mode in search. So a big focus for Google is how do we reinvent the business, but without disrupting our consumer model. Now, OpenAI, obviously the pioneers of the chat model through ChatGPT, is trying to compete with Google. How do they disrupt Google? And so a lot of their focus is also on consumers. You may have come across Sora, which is their video model. They've relaunched their image generation. They've got a lot of their sort of personal chat infrastructure is around serving up great insights to you, almost like as a daily update. And as we saw there with the healthcare, it's about you as a consumer getting your health in there. So if that's the battle that those two are playing, then if you're Anthropic and Claude and you're thinking, right, well, how do I compete with those two? Well, they have made the decision to focus on the enterprise. There are no fancy image generation models from Claude. There are no fancy voice models from Claude. They're not targeting the same market that Gemini and ChatGPT are. They're very much focused on business use cases, people that are doing workflows in Excel and Word documents and Google Drive and ServiceNow. This is what they are focused on. So I don't have a recommendation off the back of that, but I think it's a useful lens that when you think about which of these vendors is more aligned to what you're doing as a company, I'm starting to feel where most of the R&D is going. And so with that, come to the end of the prepared materials that I wanted to talk through. So do feel free to ask any questions that you have got. I've got a couple of questions that have come up in customer meetings this week that I'm going to touch on now. But do feel free to go to either the chat panel or the Q&A panel, and I'll come to your questions. The one question that I wanted to touch on that came up in a meeting yesterday is kind of a new, I guess, kind of dimension that I'm seeing more and more now that these agentic tools, like a Cowork that we talked about a minute ago, or Claude Code, are driving. And that is that they are very good at working with local files. What I mean by that is the files that are on your laptop. If you're on a Mac, you go to Finder and you can go to your documents or your desktop, and you've got actual sort of physical files like slides and documents and markdown files that are on your actual hard drive. These agents are really good at navigating around these file systems. Now, if you're a developer, you may be familiar with this because you'd probably be using something like GitHub. And with GitHub, you have the code up in the cloud in GitHub. But then to work on it, you pull a version of that down onto your desktop. You clone that repository, and you have been coding on a local version of it on your local desktop. Once you've finished your work, you make a commit and you push it back up to merge it into this master branch. So developers have been familiar with this, but now these agents that are being built on similar frameworks are now bringing these documents down onto your desktop. Now, if you're a knowledge worker, been working in HR or finance or legal, then for the last 20 years, we've been busy putting all of our files up in the cloud, into Google Drive, into Microsoft Office 365, into Dropbox or Box. And so this is kind of a new thing about how do we now start working with all of these files on my laptop. And if they're on my laptop, it means they're not on your laptop. And so how do we have version control and merge these things? This is kind of a new world. I don't have an answer to this other than to say that I know that on X, which is where I spend a lot of my time getting these discussions, like people are trying to figure this out. How do we give AI models access to our Google Drive and our Office 365 in the same way that it would have access to these kind of files on our laptops? I'll give you one final analogy on this, which I was thinking about this morning as I was thinking through this topic. When an agent is walking around files on your own laptop, it's a bit like walking around a library. I can see that book. Oh, I like that book, but I can see the book that's next to it. I can see the book that's next to it. I'm able to explore and to discover, and that's quite a sort of, an exploratory experience. When I use an API into Google Drive, Office 365, into Salesforce, into HubSpot, into Workday, any other system, this is a bit more like me ordering a book from Amazon. I think I want to buy a book. I've got an idea of what book I want. I'm going to go and search. Yes, that's the book I want. Order it. I then pull it down and then I start to read it. Now, as I'm reading that book, I've got no concept of what other books were on that shelf. I'm just very much in this silo, unless I realize this book isn't very good and I now want to go and order another book. So this is kind of the mental sort of model that I'm thinking about with these tools. The library and then ordering a book off Amazon. And like I said, I don't have an answer to it, but I know that the ChatGPTs, the Geminis, the Claudes are going to be figuring this out in the coming months. So I can't see any questions coming through. That's all good. No worries. A reminder that next week we're going to be going deep onto Claude Code. So if you are an engineer, a developer that has not touched on Claude Code, then this could be your first sort of introduction to it. I am not going to be developing and building code during that session. What I am going to be doing is giving you a high-level overview of some of the key concepts in Claude Code that I'm finding are hugely valuable in comparison to other development platforms that you might have used. So we'll be looking at things like skills, hooks, sub-agents, rules, and plan mode, these different types of things that I'm finding are really effective in Claude Code. Thanks very much for joining. We will see you next Wednesday. I hope that was useful. And as always, feel free to reach out to anyone in the Kowalah team if you've got questions about the platform or anything that we have discussed today. Enjoy the rest of your week.